Hey, everybody. I wanted to answer a quick question that someone posted on a video last week or a couple weeks ago asking about panning in a mix. And it's surprisingly simple and probably not what you would expect. I would say this is 75 to 85% of the time in most a cappella mixes. The general rule is that the lead vocal and the drums are panned dead center for the most part. Maybe the drum kit is panned as if you were sitting at it, the snare slightly to the left, or maybe as you're facing it, slightly to the right. The cymbals maybe are panned out to the sides, hi-hat slightly to one side. In most pop mixes nowadays, though, it's really panned dead center. And so lead vocals, drums right down the center. Sometimes the bass, if you have a mono tracked bass, that would be in the middle as well. And then pretty much everything else starts out hard panned left and right. Okay, as you'll see here, I'll just scroll down these tracks. We start up here with the drums. The crash is in stereo, so that's panned out to the side. But then, I have these straight down the middle. This is a stereo bass, so you see that 100 and 100, that's all the way out to the side. And then we get down here, we've got the solos. I think I had one solo that's sort of a echo here, slightly off to the left to give the main solo some space. But that's the general rule.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
All the planes we flew, all the things we've been through, and I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path.
Even the backing vocals here, that's like a featured trio, I had them hard panned out to the side. Now, that's where you start. And why do we do that? Why do we start hard panned like that? Really because a cappella is different than, say, mixing a band. With a band, you have different instruments. You have different instruments with different timbres and textures, and they take up different parts of the frequency spectrum, let's call it that. And it's a little bit easier to place them and hear them where they need to be. Well, with a cappella, you're dealing with the same instrument, right? Everybody's singing, they're using their voice. Even a soprano and a bass, they still relatively have the same frequency makeup. The human voice has the same frequencies making it up and are emphasized in certain parts of the frequency spectrum. So that's why we have to get some stuff way out of the way, to get out of the way of the lead vocal. We got to hear the lead vocal. That's the most important thing. The drums in pop music are very important, so we have to hear them too. Now, once you start there, then you can start moving some things around. Like if I were doing this mix again, I might take this trio here and pan them 45 degrees to the right and put them all on the right to be just a little interesting feature. You might have a sound that sounds like it should move across the sound stage from left to right or something like that, and you can automate those panning moves. So really start general rule of the important stuff in the middle and then everything else panned out to the sides, and then you can move things around from there. But it's a good idea to keep some stuff way out to the sides, because then that gives us the room to be able to hear things and give stuff its own space. Then start moving featured stuff around, interesting things around to create some aural interest. Let the listener discover some things, or a trick that a lot of people use is if you have a shaker or something like that, have it auto panning left to right just a little bit, maybe right in the middle, to create some movement. Movement's always good. So I hope that helps give you a starting point for how to start panning mixes and things like that. That's the the basic general approach that most acapella mixing engineers start out with, and then they play around and they discover new things just like you should. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.